Okay, good morning to everyone. I'm here again. It should be next month, but we decided to make it continuously magkasunod na linggo para fresh pa sa inyo ang ating topic. My topic last week was Playing God, GMO, and the limits of human intervention. So I presented there the different technologies that are existing already, different technologies, biological technologies that had been around us. But now it's in the field of science, among other things, is the science of biology, the science of genetics, the science of molecular biology, associated with engineering. That's why you have genetic engineering, computer science, IT, Internet of Things. Everyone has been advanced. That's why a lot of things had been created that is unimaginable before. Okay, but some other products are already present. But that's why sometimes if you know a lot on some things, you thought that you are already God. That's a big fallacy. That's what happened even in our biblical times, where the Tower of Babel. Babel ba or Babel? So, example of those that they build a tower, they want to have a tower that they could be near to God, or they want to be God if they could even reach the sky if they build this tower. That's why God have seen their fallacy, have seen their disobedience. Kaya nasira yon by just making them confused, making them have different language. That's the fall of that. That's an example of how, the humanity they thought they could be like God. Even though we are just discovering small things of the intelligence of God, if your heart is not with God, if you don't recognize the creation, you will fall. Babagsak tayo sa ganong kayabangan at tayo'y lalayo sa Panginoon. Now, so I'll be talking now on, I talk on the basics of biotechnology before, and the new sciences and the new things that has happened. But I will be focusing now, which is very lapit sa atin. Ito yung nangyari sa Pilipinas ngayon. We already advanced sa biotechnology. I may say lahat kayo nakakain na ng GMO, aside from the vaccines that you have taken, aside from the potato chips na kinakain nyo, lahat ng oil na kinakain nyo. Kaya bakit pinagbabawalan tayo? Ini-import naman natin. Tayo magbawal sa ibang bansa. Sometimes I was interviewed once in the university, because many universities are destroying the crops, or on experiments on biotechnology. They're ransacking the the laboratory doing biotechnology. Kaya minsan tanong ko sa kanila, baka naman ang mga nagraransak doon ay funded by private companies. Because if the universities or non-private companies are doing all these technologies, developing this, mas mura. Kaya minsan ang logic ko, sabi ko, baka naman mga highly sophisticated or rich, profitable companies ang nagpo-fund nitong mga, itago na natin pangalan, Greenpeace or ano man doon. Baka hindi nila ina-atake directly yung kabila kasi well-guarded, but they attack the university. So, who has the chance to make research? It's the private company. So, mas mahal ngayon in some sense. But actually, biotechnology is very expensive because there's a lot of regulation, and regulated by the other opposite side para napamahal. So, if the government should be more on facilitation, not on controlling, that will make easier for this technology to be cheaper. Okay, so that's my initial take. Okay, let's proceed. Again, let's go back again to this original verse, the Bible. God said, let The earth sprout vegetation, plant yields seeds. Very basic to sa agronomy or crop science or biology. Plant yields seed. Talagang binalik niya yung seed. And fruit trees on earth bearing fruits after their kind with seed in them. Laging balik ang seed because it means sustainability. It means proliferation for the next generation. And it was so. And the earth brought forth vegetation, plants yield seeds, seed ulit, after their kind, and trees bearing fruits with seed in them, after their kind. And God saw that it was good. So, hindi lang siya nagtanim ng puno, nagtanim ng vegetation, tapos pag namatay yun, patay na, kundi nag-produce ng fruit, produce ng seed for the next generation. And it has the mechanism to napadami. Nandyan na si ibon, kakain ng seed, ikakalat niya, nandyan si bees para mag-pollinate. Kaya ang ganda ng creation if you appreciate all those things. At kung hindi siya tugma dito sa wala masyadong tubig, mas iba ang vegetations na lumalaki doon. Kung sa maraming tubig, ibang vegetation lumalaki doon. Okay? So, pag nag-change ang climate, may resilience din. Yung mga resistant ang nabubuhay. Okay? Kagaya ng like kong kinikwento, yung mga daga sa Erie noon. Ang pinaka-bright na daga na sa Erie ngayon kasi nahuli na yung mga bobo ng mga daga kasi patanga sila siguro kasi alam nilang may kuryente o may mga trap na huli na, pero yung marami pa rin sila doon, ibig sabihin yung mga smart na. Parang the same as human being before. Like what happened in one, nawala yung dinosaur kasi nag-change, nag-volcanic eruption, nag-warm ang earth. Ang body nila not good, it's too big to live in that warmer environment. That's why dahan-dahan sila nawala. Buhaya na lang naiwan. Kasi mas resilient sila, mas maliit, bite-size sila, they could, because these are ang buhaya, these are the descendants ng mga dinosaurs. Just a kwento on that. Okay, so that's the basis ng ating pinag-uusapan. And what are the modern modern biotech agriculture in the Philippines? So even in the Bible, farming agriculture is always there. Even God is, I may say, the first agriculturist. He made the garden, he created all this vegetation, the water, everything is there. So let's focus now. Let's go near of what we are doing in the Philippines. The Philippines is the first Asian countries na nag-commercialized. So I think we are the brightest. See, we are the one medyo open ang Philippines. We are the first time to commercialize genetically modified crops, especially corn. As early as 1990s, corn is already acceptable in the Philippines. 80s pa, 70s, acceptable na yan sa US and other countries. But we have the guts to start it. That's why, in general, the corn industry is a little bit okay compared to rice. In the Philippines. So more than 800, almost 1 million hectares of GM, genetically modified. Pag genetically modified, may herbicide resistance siya. O kaya meron siyang insect resistance. We call it BT, Bacillus thuringiensis. Kaya hindi mo na kailangan mag-spray para to control Bacillus thuringiensis. I mentioned already last time. Hindi mo na kailangan mag-spray 3 times or 4 times ng herbicide to grow corn. Isang beses lang. So, na-reduce mo yon. At masaya ang farmer. Nakakakanta na raw sila ng high note kasi hindi na sila inubo palagi kasi yung pesticide na nahihigop nila ay nakakaubo. But I may say, even the insecticide are harmful, but these are already well-studied. Alam ni Brother Ike to. Well-studied ito na hindi siya ganun ka-super toxic. Para din sa atin, the most toxic na kinakain natin ay kinuha natin, toothpaste. Kung wala kayong lamok dyan, ibugahan nyo ng counting toothpaste ng nagagawin nyo, patay yan, wala pang seconds. But we manage it by gargling. After taking our brush, we gargle. blow it twice, at least twice, wala na. Same as if you apply pesticide, technically, after is dalawang ulan o kaya mainitan lang yan, mawala na ang bisa niyan. Maligo kayo, magsabon kayo, hindi naman kinakain ng sabon, andyan lang sa mukha natin. Magbanlaw naman kayo para hindi naman kayo mahilo pag nadilaan nyo yung kanya. So, those are the very toxic sa katawan natin. Kahit sa bahay, mag-spray tayo ng lamok. So, it's just a management of all those things. Okay? So, what I'm saying is everything is toxic. Kahit tubig na iniinom natin, ipa-analyze nyo yan. Ang daming mercury, may arsenic percentage yan. But what I'm saying na nagmamalinis tayo masyado. But of course, ideal talaga wala. Okay? Okay, imports kahit our imports of corn, soybeans, cotton, lahat ng damit siguro we are using right now, these are all GM. Because GM corn, walang borer. Mas less ang ginagamit mo. Soybean, cotton, canola, potato, and for direct use for food, feeds, and processing. So, ini-import na natin yon. Bakit hindi natin i-produce dito? Di ba? Especially BP, yung mga uod ay very prolific siya sa tropical environment. Tayo nangangailangan. Bakit Europe hindi gumagamit? Kasi mas less ang uod nila kaysa atin. Ang weeds nila hindi lumalagom masyado. Ang weeds nga nila, namumulaklak pa. Ang cute pag nasa field ka if you go to England, kita mong field nila, namumulaklak yung parang fairy, di ba? Ang daming, sa atin, nandiyan na si Kubo, nandiyan na si, ano pa yung punong tumutuwa, lapnis. Pag wala lang, kumulan lang kaunti ngayon, galit na galit ka na, at ang liit lang ng lilinisin mo, dumadami na, part yan ng curse of the ground. Okay, so, biotech crops, in the Philippines, ang dami na nang na-approve dito mga events. Events, hindi to party ha. Ang events, ito yung insertions. Different kinds of insertions. So I'm just giving you an example. Kinuha ko pa to sa lecture ko pala sa isang klase ko. So from alfalfa, from canola, cotton. Daming cotton insertions yan because it has the BT, and other disease resistance. Sa eggplant isa lang, which is BT. Corn, 67 ang corn. Kasi lahat ng combinations, hindi lang yung mga stocks, hindi lang. Isang event 1, 1 yan. Event 2, yung pag kinumbay mo yung dalawa, isa ulit yon, kaya 64. Just to give you an idea, these are the different events na, I don't want to go to the details of this because si Sito lang makakaintindi nito. So you need to be a plant breeder to understand all these complexities. So we have a lot of approved in the Philippines events that you would study. Okay. So for direct use foods and processing then, when we import, may mga approved events din tayo. That's why we have all these kinds of, just for, if you want to import, ito yung mga approved events. May mga events na approved na pwede mo siyang i-import. Okay, let's go to the na-approved sa Philippines in 2001, it was approved for commercialization. Itong BT talong, BT eggplant, Bacillus thuringiensis. It's, Bacillus thuringiensis, technically it's an organic compound, organic organism na ini-spray yan noon. Ini-spray nila a day before harvesting, pwede mo siyang i-spray sa mga cabbage, sa mga noon. Organic siya. And now, what happened is, siyempre, spraying takes a long time, and pag-spray, pag nawala, kuha na ulit. So what they did is to put it in the plant para nasa system na siya. Parang it's a vaccination for the plant to be resistant to this fruit. They call it the fruit and shoot borer ng corn. Ito sa corn saka sa eggplant. Diba yung eggplant pag nagpakain talong na tumitigas kaunti, pagbukas mo may uod. Kung ayaw nyo walang uod, siguro at least 7 times in-sprayhan yan. Tapos pag unang harvest pa nyo, pag next harvest niyan, may pagitan ng 1 week, isprayan pa ng 2 beses yan para walang makintab ang inyong talong. Or else makita yung talong, bili kayo ng talong, may isang butas ng pagkuhan mo, matigas, tapon ka lang ng tapon. Kaya pag bumili ng talong, talagang walang butas. Kasi pag may butas, matigas na yon, hindi na makain yon. So yan, nakita nyo yung hitsura niya. Yan ang nakita nyo pag nabukas nyo yung talong, ganyan ang hitsura ng talong. So in 2010, 2023, yan ang hitsura niya. So the left side, you could see, left side, tama. Left side, you could see the without the BT. Yung kabila ay malinis siya. Kasi na-inhibit niya ang BT. Okay, so ganyan siya. So BT eggplant was developed even in the Philippines. But it was started in India by Mahiko. Krinos lang niya para maproduce sa Philippines. So it will boost yield by more than 200% and reduce pesticide use by 48%. So yan ang hitsura niya. So in 2021, na-approve na siya. And lahat na-approve na yan. Tapos 2024, binaliktad, hindi na ulit approve. Yan ang, I'll show it later. So that's BT eggplant. After corn, BT eggplant is approved sa Philippines para makakain tayong masarap na tortang itlog. Then golden rice. So golden rice is actually hindi to golden egg, but rice itself produce vitamin A but not in the grain. Ang normal rice, may vitamin A siyang kaunti, but it's in the whole plant. Hindi siya pumupunta sa grain. But this vitamin, golden rice of rice, we started that, I was part of the study before. We started that studying using, we get the gene from daffodil, transfer sa rice. So it was successful, but to make it more daffodil, poisonous daw yung daffodil, cute lang siya na flower, pero yung yellow flower ng bulag yung sa petal, transfer. But now, galing na sa corn. Nung ilawin sa corn, kontra pa rin. So galing na sa corn yung yellowness niya, nilipat sa rice, kaya naging, that's the so produce beta-carotene in the grains. Ordinary rice produce beta-carotene in all parts of the rice plant, but not in the grains. So developed them through IRRI and transferred sa Philippine Rice Research Institute. They put it in the local variety. So ito ang hitsura niyan. Ito yung golden rice, yung wild rice, ganyan, puti siya. Yung golden rice 1, ayan yung simula pa nung daffodil pang nilalagay dyan. Golden rice 2, yan na yung galing sa corn, ang yellowness niya or beta-carotene. So it's approved for direct use as food and feed in 2021, approved for propagation, tapos kinontest ng mga kaibigan natin sa Greenpeace and Masipag, then petition to dismiss, dinismiss siya noong 2022, balik na naman sa 2024 na nakuha tayo. So, aside from other that, I'll just show you anong mga products. Enhanced solo papaya with delayed ripening. So, with delayed ripening, we could transport papaya. Hindi siya madaling mahinog, malamog. Okay, so those are examples of biotech products. As I mentioned before, even in animals, they call it glowfish. So, kahit gabi, nakikita nyo yung isda yung fish. Huwag nyo kainin yan. Bawal na yan kainin kasi. Pet natin yan eh. So, meron namang salmon. Genetically modified, developed by Aqua Bounty Farms. They have to capability of growing from egg to market size in half the time compared to non-transgenic. So, mabilis siyang lumaki. Approved for commercial raise in November 2050. Hindi pa sa Philippines, sa ibang bansa. Lahat siguro ang kinakain natin imported salmon siguro pag nagawan tayo, wala tayong salmon dito except sardinas, puro na siguro yung GMO na kinakain natin. So I'm just giving you examples. So what are the issues about this one? Issues concerns of modern biotechnology, especially GMO. Technological issue. inherent to the, lahat naman technology ay food safety, and kaya pinag-aralan ng maigi ito, safety to the environment. Alam niyo ba noon ang milk, nung na-discover nila ang butter, protesta, dapat milk lang ang inumin, huwag butter. Tapos nakita nila ang ayos din pala, so nawala ulit. Lumabas si microwave, daw, may radiation daw yon. May katotohanan naman, pero lahat may microwave na ngayon. Cellphone, nung lumabas ang cellphone, magka-cancer ng tenga daw ng wave. Hindi nagka-cancer ng tenga, yung kuko ang na-cancer, katutok-tok. Di ba ang sakit dito? Kung marami kang tinitext nandito, sakit dito. Nangangapal na yan dito natin with text. Yung iba ngayon, pinapatusok na nila kasi ang lalaki ng kamay nila. Pinapahaba nila para hindi na dalawang letra ang natutusok. So, ganun ang technology, kokontra yan. Any technology, may inherent talagang, there's always an inherent problem to technology. Social issues. So, this is difficult to, social ako kaya ayaw kumain yan. Yan ang social issues. It transcends technology. It's the kung halal ba or ano ba or ikaw ay socio-economic issues. Socio-cultural ba yung about biodiversity, tradition, indigenous knowledge, baka mahawaan yung ibang crops. All type technologies have some issues and concerns, and this is being addressed. Assuring the safety of the genetically modified foods and crops, product regulation from laboratory to the market. So ito yung ginagawa namin from the laboratory. Sa research laboratory, nandun yung concept, choice, and source of genes, environment and global consideration and gene product, field evaluation, do a lot of field evaluation, agronomic and evaluation, genetic stability, impact on the environment, up to the product advance evaluation, food and feed safety to the environment. Kaya mahal ngayon ang produkto kasi millions and millions are spent on this. Kasi ni-regulate nung ibang mga kaibigan natin. Which is tama naman, pero dapat mag-research din sila. Hindi lang I remembered I was with Iri then they say we are advocating the golden rice, and one of those then this friend of ours are giving. Oh, see, golden rice, once the insect will eat them in the field, the insects will have brighter eyes and they could eat more food in the evening. How would you argue with that? Last argument nila na pinakita, Swapan Data, Glenn Gregorio, pinakita yung mga scientists na gumagawa ng golden rice, puro walang buhok. Sabi nila, tiyan mo, if you eat golden rice, mawawalan daw buhok mo. Hindi na ako sumagot. You get what I mean? They are big organization designing to destroy you. Their work is just to destroy something. What we are doing, half of our time is just defending what we are doing, and half of our time is doing research. Sila walang research ginagawa kundi how to tackle it down. So that's the problem. But they are my friends. I have some friends from those sectors, and kaya gino-joke ko na lang sila. Kasi they are fishing, we talk and they are fishing something negative from, kagaya ng sabi ko, ayoko ng golden rice kasi naninilaw ang ngipin ko. So that's the only negative. So I'm even one of the member of the biotech, of DA Biotechnology steering committee. So we approve projects. And now I'm nominated as a scientist to replace Dr. Ramirez sa board for ethics on the science of so those are the things that we are tackling right now on how to deal with it. At the same time, looking at the issues. Some are real issues. Baka nga naman makasura sa environment. But based studies, which I'll be mentioned later, na wala talaga. So in summary, what are the technological issues and concerns of biotechnology? Safety as food for human and feeds animals, nabanggit ko na kanina. And safety to the environment of biotech crops are the primary technological issues and concerns of biotechnology. These are addressed already by the laws and policies that enables the biosafety regulation R&D for commercialization of the GM products and process. It's very difficult. Now you have to you have to convene DA, you have to convene the Department of Local Government, DTI, DNR, social, lahat. Imagine just to convene a meeting of all the secretaries. It's very difficult. Kaya pinapahirapan talaga to make it. But they were able to do it. So, our non-GMO products also regulated to be sure. So, ba't GMO lang? Kahit ba't yung mga new products dapat i-regulate natin? Marami tayong mga Chinese na dumarating ditong pagkain na mas delikado. What are the chemicals are there? Those are more dangerous than these well-studied products. So, safety of genetically modified crops in the environment, issues, concerns related to the environment, possible effect of non-targeted organisms. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Baka mag-transfer ang genes daw sa iba, especially sa traditional varieties. Possibility of gene flow from to and crossing with other related species turn them into weeds. Maging herbicide resistant yung mga weeds. You could not cross a corn with the weeds anyway. So, but we have wild rice also in the field. Baka mag-cross. So it's well studied. It proves that there's no risk in doing it. Possibility of promoting and development of resistant pests, baka masyado siyang maging resistant. Actually, like the BT corn, hindi naman talaga namamatay ang corn. Lumiliit lang siya. Saka naging sterile siya halos. So, namamatay siya. So, hindi siya nagiging resistant doon. Saka may ordinary corn silang palibot ng, pangkain sa kanila. So, thus GM crops are subjected to risk assessment to address these concerns already. So, evidence, ito just to summarize, evidence of safety of GM crops in the environment. For more than 30 years from GM na papaya, oil, lahat ng kinakain natin ay wala pang namatay. Evidence. So, in 2020 review for more than 150 scientific articles found that commercialized GM crops reduced impact on agriculture biodiversity, reduced impact through enhanced adoption of conservation tillage practices, reduction of pesticide use, and use of more environmentally benign or friendly herbicides, increased yields, and lessen use of more land. So instead of expanding kasi kaunti ang produce, nare-reduce ang land na nag-expand for agriculture. So evidence of safety ng GM crops ng environment, kahit ang US National Academy of Science census study that showed the following: BT crops ay walang generally decrease yield losses, bumababa ang tapon or sila, mas tumaas ang ani, use of insecticide, and small, large farm compared with non-BT variety. So, positive yan. Widespread planting of BT crops decrease abundance of specific pest and contribution to reduce damage even to crops without BT. So, positive ang kanila ng pagtatanim. Planting results to high increase. Dumami pa nga ang yung hindi mo in-spray yung bukid mo, may mga butterfly na sila, dragonfly na nakita kasi hindi ka nag-spray ng, pinapatay lang, very specific lang siya. Unlike if you spray insecticide, lahat yung mga butterfly doon patay. Lahat ng dragonfly patay. Alam niyo ba ang dragonfly? Bakit dumadami lamok natin? Ang dragonfly, lamok ang kinakain noon. So, hindi natin kaaway ang dragonfly, ang dragon ang kaawa natin. Kaya pag spray natin, nandiyan ang mga, kung makita niyo yung environment, yung maraming dragonfly, mas kaunti ang lamok nyo. Dapat maraming palaka doon sa inyo, tsaka maraming kuhan. So, less pesticide use, wala pang pumupunta sa ilog, although nawawash out siya, pero sa immediate pagpunta sa umulan yan, punta sa ilog, mamatay yung mga isda kasi presko parang yung parang kayong naligo, dami yung sabong niligo, shampoo, may conditioner, may kuhan, Naligo kayo pag ang kanal nyo next ilog na yan, madaming mamamatay dyan. Kaya huwag kayo maligo sa ilog. Sa ulan na lang. Okay? So, yung April 17, last 2 months ago, or less than 2 months, ito yung bumulaga sa atin. 2024, the Court of Appeals imposed moratorium on the use of GMO. So, moratorium. Pero na-release na noong 2021. Ako nga, may seed na ng parehong talong tsaka meron akong seed tsaka golden rice. I even ate a golden rice. So, nakita kayo ng golden rice. So, the Branch 4 of the Court of Appeals issued writ of kalikasan and writ of continuous mandamus. Sino mag-explain nito ng writ of kalikasan and writ of mandamus? Writ of kalikasan, ito yung law. Si Kuya Rex mag-explain nito. Ito yung law related to the environment. So, ginamit nila yung law about the environment, about the GMO. Kaya, pag ginamit mo na yon, wala ka ng laban. Kasi kahit pag-araro mo lang, pwede pag ni-writ of kalikasan ka, ay hindi ka pwede mag-araro. Magputol ka ng dahon, hindi rin. Magpatay ng lamok, bawal din. Kung gagamitin nila ang writ ng kalikasan. But writ of kalikasan is only applicable for your right for the environment. Kung makasira ng environment. Pag pinutol yung mga puno, pwede kang gamitin mo yon. Writ of kalikasan. Pero technically, kung masisira ang environment, pag araro mo lang, masisira mo ng environment eh. So, that law should not be applied in agriculture and medical sciences. Kahit pag inom mo lang ng purga, bawal yun sa writ of kalikasan kung gamitin kasi sinisira mo yung namamatay ang parasite sa tiyan mo. Using vaccine is against the writ of kalikasan. So it's not applicable for agriculture and medicine. Okay? Lalagay ko lang ng kuto. Buti wala na akong kuto. Bawal yon kasi pinapatay mo yung mga organism doon. Yung purga, pagwan mo ng vaccine, bawal din yon kasi sinisira mo yung natural habitat ng everyone should be free. So, writ of kalikasan and writ of continuing mandamus. Sinabi yung writ of continuing mandamus sa mga government agency to stop them doing something or oblige them to do something. Kasi against itong mga government institutions like PhilRice, DA, and UPLB ang tinira nila dito. So writ of kalikasan, ginamit ang writ kalikasan nila, ginamit kasi sa petition ng Greenpeace at saka ano yung isa? Masipag of activities relating to golden rice and BT eggplant. So ano ibig sabihin nito? So according to judgment, granting the privilege of writ of kalikasan, ginamit nila yon at saka writ of continuing mandamus against the government agencies. So they're directing the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, na pagbawalan to cease and desist the commercially propagation and conducting activities related to BT eggplant under the biosafety permit issued thereof. So kinat yung permit nila. Pero nailabas na eh. Kaya, hindi ako lawyer but wala na, ilabas na eh. Paano mo ibabalik yon? So, ang kalaban mo ang farmer. Ibabalik mo sa farmer. So, directing, revoking the biosafety permit for commercial propagation ng golden rice saka talong ng PhilRice and ordering Philippine Rice Research Institute to cease and desist. Nawala ka na, magkakasakit ka pa, may disease pa. Wrong spelling pala yun. Tama yan, desist from commercially propagating. So it means ini-stop at pinagbabawalan na. Pero nakalabas na. Okay? So yun ang kwan nila. So granting the privilege of writ kalikasan, issuing the writ of ordering. Ang problema dito, so ito yung enjoining ordering concerned proponents, respondents ng government agency not to do it. At gagawa pa daw sila, they have to convene a court, they have to put more studies on the risk. Kasi lahat naman talaga wala namang para bang nag-i-invest ka, make sure nakikita ka, you could not, they ask them to make 100%. Kahit pag inom ng tubig, hindi mo alam na ilang percent ng kuha niya. OA masyado. In my ordinary, I could comment kasi ordinary citizen ako eh. Tsaka hindi ako ang kaso dito. So in joining any application, kahit field testing ng mga kuha ay bawal na. At saka, the most important, pinagbawalan na rin mag-import ng GM. Kaya kumain na kayo ng potato chips ngayon, baka wala na tayong langis na yung kasi GM yan lahat. Na beyond their jurisdiction, ginawa pa ng kuha na bawal na kaya nagprotesta ngayon ang mga livestock. Kasi wala silang soybean na pinapakain, walang feeds na kinakain kasi GM pa yung nandoon. Buti na lang sinabi ng DA, hindi nyo niya sakop yan. Kaya in short, maraming loopholes dito na madali siyang mababaliktad ulit yan. Mababaliktad ulit yan, madaling sagutin. Just to give an example, one of their problem is sabi yung members daw ng committee na nag-evaluate ay wala daw kasi kasama doon elected official. Sa committee ay dapat may isang elected official. So doon sa committee nilang 5, may dalawa doon na women na farmer na babae na head siya ng women's group. Pero yun nakasulat pero kagawad siya. May dalawa silang ganon. Hindi lang nakasulat na kagawad, parang hindi daw yun dapat nakasulat. Parang simple things at na-defend nilang kagawad tong dalawa. Hindi lang ang title lang nakasulat doon sa paper na sinabit na farmer sila na head sila ng women's group. So those are simple, just like parang sinabing example, si Rex Cruz, parang ginamit niya. Member si Rex Cruz, siya ay member ng National Academy of Science and Technology. Hindi siya sinulat na professor ng UP, yun lang nakalogay. Hindi pwede yun. Parang very kasama yun sa kanyang kwan eh. So those are just an example. So writ of kalikasan, as I mentioned, ito yung sabi na, it's a beautiful law, legal remedy. Itong writ of kalikasan is a legal remedy under the Philippine law that provides protection of one's constitutional right to a healthy environment as outlined in Section 16, Article 2, Philippine Constitution, which states that states shall protect and advance the right of the people to balance healthy ecology with accordance to the hymn of harmony of nature. So well-meaning, maganda siya. Elegant, but susceptible to sore unreal interpretation. The practice of agriculture and medicine will not qualify dapat dito. Kasi pag araro mo lang, marami ka na. Pag putol mo lang ng kaunting kahoy para magtanim, tanggal mo ng damo, pati gamitin mo rin itong kalikasan, hindi mo dapat tanggalin yan. So those are example, parts of life cycle dito of some kinds of worms are in the guts of the people and livestock. So medical practices prescribes of anti-worm sa atin sa tiyan natin or vaccine ay bawal. Kaya hindi siya pwede applicable sa agriculture at saka doon. Kasi pag ginamit na nila yon tapos ni-recognize ng law, ay wala na tayo, uwian na. So, ito yung mga issues. Dapat malaman nyo, issues on golden rice, lack of genuine public consultation daw. 2010 pa lang, nagko-consultation na kami dito Lack of transparency in the access of information, absence of independent risk assessment and evaluation, and lack of comparative studies on golden rice. So, issues ng talong, environmental groups and other individuals complained that no peer-reviewed study was conducted at BT eggplant's safety for human consumption and environment. So just to conclude in that area, risk is inherent to any technology. From cellphone, kahit bagong car ka, may risk talaga palagi. Kung walang risk, wala na rin tayo. So it's amenable to science-based evaluation. If we evaluate, we should not put emotion. We should use science evaluation para bang magkakasakit ng tao. Operan ba siya o hindi? Hindi tayo magbubutuhan dito. Let's talk to the doctors, the toxicologists, the academic, yung nakakaalam doon. Hindi tayo magbubutuhan. Kasi yung expert dapat doon. Analysis done in case-to-case basis. All commercially available GM foods have passed rigid tests and for safety and environmental safety under biosafety regulation. Dapat dahan-dahan na siyang mawala para magiging mura siya sa ating lahat. Okay, I'll just go back again for the summary. While the Bible does not specifically mention GMO in teaching on stewardship, respect for life, caring for the needy, seeking wisdom and justice can all inform a faithful response to complexities of genetic modification. So Christianity, wala tayong clear-cut na sinasabi sa Bible, but we are implied ito, hindi to directly. Kung ikaw ay believer, ay dapat alam mo GMO, or you should know GMO, or you should anti-GMO ka. So walang clear ang ng Bible to. But ang alam natin, as I mentioned, it makes it complex ng Panginoon because part of our sin, they spread the good genes that we are going back to redesign the original creation, putting together the good things into one. Again, ang minansyong ko noon, lahat tayo ay nagkalat ang genes natin. Buti yung kagupuhan lang nakuha ko, ayos na yon. Okay, maging satisfied na kayo. Maghanap na lang kayo ng asawang kulang sa inyo para yung anak nyo ay mapunuan. Kahit yung bawal nga ang animals, yung mule. Alam niyo yung mule? Mule is the cross of a male donkey and a female horse. Ang mule ay sterile. Pero ginagamit sa Bible yon, nandun pa rin sa kwan yan. Okay, I'll not go. I could talk about this one, but that's the meaning. So, ang importante, especially those, nice to learn the talent na binigay ng Panginoon sa atin and appreciating all these things. But ang Panginoon pa rin ang may hawak sa lahat. Okay, so I'm now ready for question. Yan si Buboy nung maliit pa siya. So we visited a greenhouse farm. Pero hindi yan GMO. Yes, Jean.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Deacon Glenn. Always informative and educational. When we listen to your lecture, my interest is on the moratorium on the use of GMO. I'm thinking of two things. First, so does the moratorium cover only the field rice and UPLB, or as you said, since in earlier ito ay has been adopted already by farmers, yung bang mga farmers who adopted this technology, are they covered by the moratorium, or ito lang ay ang UPLB at ang field rice? Second question, sino ba mga lawyer na UPLB at field rice? You say it's a battle, it's a legal battle, it's not whether how good or bad a technology is, it's how it's written, because that's what is seen, look at the court. So baka kinulang, as you mentioned, baka you have to put there a very good team, a very good legal team who understands what is a requirement, because as far as your explanation is concerned, I'm very convinced. I mean, I don't have issues with the GMO. Okay lang ako dyan. But I was thinking, because it's a legal battle at this point, it has to be written, there should be a good team who can write what the court understands. I think that's what's needed. So those 2 points, I may be wrong, but those are my reflections. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, it was released in 2021, and after 1 year, there's parang pinapa-explain ulit ng korte ang field rice tsaka DA on some small issues. Okay, parang there are 7 requests protest nila na bawal na iganon, bawal na gito. May dalawa lang na sabi ng korte, okay, just explain this one to us. Parang naging lax ang siguro doon. Kasi panalo na siya doon eh. Kasi ito lang pinapa-explain ang dalawa. So, cool ka lang kasi madaling sagutin yung, kumbaga, 8 requests according to order of priority or order of gravity. Yung dalawa lang ang case na pinapa-explain about environment lang ata, tsaka something like that. Then, after that, after few months, nung nasagot na after 10 days, nasagot nila, which is very easy to answer, lumabas na yung court order ng Court of Appeal na lahat na yun grinant. So, in some sense, unfair na rin. At the same time, lax din ang court. Kasi, you could be lax because you already explained to. Hindi grinant itong tatlo, hinagip nila lahat. Pangalawa, if the seeds are already in the farmers, but the problem is some are already there, and they very few are out there. But because for 1 year they have to multiply it muna, nag-multiply sila ng marami before after 2 years, because it takes 2 years because they have only about 1 kaban of seed now they produce, because you could not mass produce the seed. When the court allowed them, they start multiplying them. Now they have the seed about to give it to the farmers in bulk. Then, actually, nung sinabihan silang pinapa-explain, hindi nila ni-release. The advice of the lawyer is i-release nyo na so that they will be versus the farmer of the Philippines na, di talo na sila doon. But some had been released already. Kung gusto mo ng seed, meron ako. So, in that sense, they could not oblige the farmers to do it. But they are, the court is directing PhilRice and the DA to ask the farmer not to plant it. But they have no control anymore. So, I know this, after the deliberation again and writing again, and it will be reversed again. Yeah. Yes. Even the importers are not respondents also, because sa law din, doon sa Court of Appeal, decision nila, there will be no importation of GMO. Hindi nila sakop yun, ba't sila gumagawang korte doon? So, the importation were not, they're not obliged, but they are saying this way. So, maraming loopholes. Sito, I hope you understand my Tagalog there, Sito.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah. My question is, like you, I know you are a seasoned scientist, at the same time, a farmer. So what do you think is the major problem with the adoption of GMO rice? That is one. Then secondly, you said in the Philippines now we have almost about 800,000 hectares of GMO maize. Why rice is having this kind of issue of adoption in the Philippines?
First is, it takes a long time for the government to give a permission to rice, because rice is unlike other crops, because you eat only tomato, maybe 10 grams a day or 20 grams average, but you're eating rice half a kilo a day. So they are afraid if there's a small problem, it will magnify easily. So that's their concern, because it's a staple crop. Unlike it's tomato, you could not, okay, don't eat tomato for 1 month, we'll remove all the tomato. It's easier than don't eat rice for 1 month. So that's an example. They have to be very careful in that. But that's why this one, we studied this starting 2000 or 1990s. Only now it has been released. So it has been studied thoroughly. So adoption of rice, but the golden rice will be slowly adapted. You know why? Because once this rice will be released, no private company will go into this golden rice business, because it's not a hybrid. You could get it and you could plant it, No need to buy from others. And as I mentioned, any technology, the farmer will not directly, initially they will directly benefit from this one because I want golden rice, so I'll buy it maybe 10 pesos expensive. But next time everyone is planting it, it's the consumers who will be benefiting from it. So the design here, they want to put the golden rice to the for plantation, for big plantation, so that it will be the delivery of nutrients from rice. But the problem, other plants, why rice? You have to eat diverse. It's better, actually, for me, eat kamote, eat this pumpkin, all this kalabasa, all the fruits as much as possible. But very difficult. It's delivery. You have to the availability of those products. So we initially put it in. It's easy to deliver through rice because through rice you could easily populate to the community. Sino pa? Bahala kayo kung sino mauna. Diyan naman na. Matanda ka.
Deacon Glenn. Yung question na to is coming from a person who does not know anything about the topic.
Yeah.
Okay. Gusto ko lang maintindihan, gusto ko lang magkaroon ng idea. A while ago, nabanggit din ni Deacon Ike yung tungkol doon sa 20 pesos na per kilo. Yung scenario kasi ng Philippines, I think sa ibang bansa din, is, di ba merong yung mga farmers, kalimitan, medyo mahihirap yung mga farmers, except yourself. No? Pero sa ibang bansa kasi, mayaman yung mga farmers, di ba? Kasi hindi sila nababargain down ng ganun lang kasimple. Pero here, and maybe some others, na nagiging part na ng, alam mo yung self-accomplishment ng tao na napiga ako yung presyo nitong tao na to. Pero when we buy siguro shoes, if you have a budget of more than 2,000, pag hindi mo na-meet yung 2,000, may inclination ka na parang hindi ako satisfied, hahanap pa ako ng mas mahal dun sa 2,000. Parang ganon. So nakikita ko na parang nahihirapan yung mga farmers. And at the same time, meron mga middlemen Yung mga middlemen, ang taas-taas naman nilang magpatubo. Tapos yung mga farmers, nababargain down sila. Hindi man lang sila makapagpataas ng tubo. It's a cycle na laging pag ganun-ganun lang ang nangyayari. Now, dito naman sa GMO na to, is this something that the government, especially under the Bongbong Marcos regime, na consider nila, if there is anything na even close to this or equivalent to this GMO na pinag-aaralan currently ng government of the Philippines? Anything related to that? Not necessarily meeting the 20,000 per kilo, pero at least man lang.
Pesos.
20 pesos per kilo. Salamat sa pag-correct ng asawa ko. 20 pesos per kilo, o at least man lang itry, or kung hindi ma-meet yung 20, siguro 30, 40, I don't know. Baka may sasabihin si Deacon Ike. Yung dalawang Deacon Ikes natin.
It's very complex. 20 pesos per kilo is you will kill the farmers. It's impossible. Gate price na lang ngayon, 20 pesos na sa farmer. If you have a 20 pesos per kilo, it means you're buying 8 pesos from the farmer. And the middleman, technically, maliit lang ng kuha nila, and they have all the risk. Because if they buy, as I mentioned to you, they buy 20 pesos. Sometimes we ordinary people will just look at it. They buy it for 20 pesos sa farmer, binibenta nilang 50 pesos. 50 minus 20, 30 pesos kita ng, kita ng 1 per kilo. Hindi. They will buy it basa. Papatuyuin pa nila, it will have 20% tanggal na agad doon ng basa. Technology, the drying for it, the labor for it, isasako nila. Pag meal naman doon, 50% doon matatanggal. So yung 1 kilo mo, mga 300 grams na lang yon. The wastage and everything. Pagtinda naman doon, pag-transport, pagtinda, how much will be kita ng kanso? Ang liit pa rin ang margin nila. What I'm saying is, for me, if I'm in the government, they give me 1 day as a secretary, I will give loans to more traders para hindi monopolize na isang trader. So that if you have in one area, because I'm a farmer, we have only one trader na bumibili. That's why my second option is I tried milling I dry it myself with my people, I mill it there and sell it. Lugi pa rin ako. Kasi dami kong ginastos doon, abala pa ako. Pati oras ko, ako pa magpapadeliver ng mga, witness yan si Mayla, lugi. Pinamimigay ko na lang yung bigas ko. Masaya pa ako. In short, it will be ideal. So give more para mag-compete sila. Instead of 20 pesos ngayon, kaya pa rin ng 22, 23. So you give loans for those entrepreneurs for them to have more on this one. So that's the only way. And they have to make the farmers organize, so that they have their own storage, so that they could bargain. That's the only way. And we need support from the government. Not even, I may say, if ako 2 araw na lang ako maging secretary, I'll not give money to the farmers directly. I'll just assure them that if you produce this rice, I'll buy it to 25 pesos. Surely they will invest in there. And give them crop insurance. Pag bumagyo, mag-invest kayo dyan. Pag bumagyo, ako bahala sa inyo. And I'll give you a 25 peso. Then they will invest in there. Yung pangsabong nila, pang-inom, ilagay na nila kasi sigurado ng 25 pesos eh. Because you don't know, tomorrow you will harvest, all of you will harvest at the same time. Magiging 11 pesos na yan, 12 pesos. Kagat sila sa patalim. But if you are sure then 25, 30 pesos, kahit si Ike magpa-farmer na yan. Kahit ako, I'll invest more sa kwan ko doon. Because may sigurado kang market eh. That's the only way. Hindi yung, bibigyan kita ng ayuda. Eh, wala. Saan ba ayuda pupunta? Hindi na natin alam. Siyempre, may iba din pupuntahan yan, which is legitimate. But yan, you have to make farmers business-minded to make it happen. But 20 pesos, para kapareho lang yan sa pag-jetski ni Duterte. Sabi niya, pangako niya, mag-jetski siya sa Spratly. Parang ganun, okay mo naman. Hindi naman niya, wala yun nakasulat niya na maging 20 pesos eh. Para bang, same as Gloria, anong sabi ni Gloria, ibababa niya ang galunggong. Hindi yun nakasulat. Yun ang ginagamit ng media, kumakay 20 pesos. Imposible yun eh, para bang pangako. Parang manligaw tayo noon eh. Kukunin ko ang buwan at bituin, ibigay ko sa iyo. Pagdating sa PS, hindi kita sunduin kasi umuulan. Yes, brother.
Ako na si Deacon.
Sige, bakit?
Brother, if you look at the ruling ng Court of Appeals, they cited yung tinatawag na precautionary principle. Sa pagkaunawa ko, to me, it means that in the absence of consensus in the scientific community, the government or the court was mandated to decide in favor of postponing or yung moratorium na tinatawag. No, what's really surprising is that what the court said, the absence of consensus in the scientific community. Kasi when I was still working for an NGO, I remember that one of our consultants for sustainable agriculture, although hindi po ako kasama doon sa program na yun, is a scientist from UPLB. And he really opposed itong golden rice. And it was part of this Masipag group that strongly opposed, with the help of Greenpeace yata, the commercialization of golden rice. And then another point is, so you have there in the court, if you look at it, 2 opposing parties, diba? 1 for and 1 against. Both have scientists. So sabi ng korte, or the court said, there's no consensus. You guys are presenting different evidences, opposing each other. So therefore, what can we do? We will certainly say na there's no consensus. And I think what you mentioned in your first lecture or presentation last Sunday was that I think the problem is the court itself, because they cannot appreciate evidence presented by two opposing parties. So ang tanong po doon ay, how can you help the court appreciate either your view or the opposing party's view so that they can come up with a decision that is supposedly fair and helpful, especially to the Filipino community. Second, of course, this reminds me also of, again, yung sort of harm and benefits of coconut oil. Many of us were deceived into thinking that coconut oil is not healthy. But if you, again, listen to, it depends on whoever you listen to, kung ito ba si isang
Americano.
Mercola, who is a American doctor and a health expert supposedly, he will say that coconut oil is good. Pero pag pinakinggan mo yung ibang doctor supported by, again, soybean oil manufacturers in the US, they will say it's bad. So there's some hidden motive behind all this. We don't know. No? So, yun lang po.
Yeah, actually, that's right. That's why I mentioned quality research. Dapat mag-research din sila to counter it. But all the peer-reviewed journals showing that's all, there's no, hindi sila sabing mas nutritious mga ganun, but there's no harm in doing it. So, hindi ibig sabihin, ay, magiging Superman ka pag nakain yan, but there's no harm in doing it. Very, very cautious sila. Scientific sila, there's no. But there's a study na nilagay sa Petri dish yun, nilagyan ng juice nung BT plant yung isa. Siyempre, mamatay ka. Kaya tubig ilagay mo doon, malulunod ka talaga eh. So, mga experiment, you have to replicate it. You have a control. All those things should be in place. Hindi lang yung mga scientific. It should be science. That's why it's science-based. Although some may say, no consensus, may 20% na kontra, may 80% or may say 40% na kontra, may 60% na positive, but they have results here. This one, all testimonial, then that's a different thing. Because you could, I even have an article on we can be friends. It's when organically grown BT talong, organically grown. You could merge these technologies. It's the mixture. It's like wedding, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Dapat yun daw isusuot mo, hindi yung lahat bago. Brother Ike.
Bro, experience and thought lang. Actually, yung BT corn, we were at the forefront of a trialing of that. I work with Monsanto, I think many of you know. So when that product was trialed during the late 90s, 2000, the threat of the Greenpeace, Masipag was already there. So what our company did well was, in the first and foremost, we followed to the letter, yung mga trialing, everything. And then we also hired people to represent to the government. We call GAPA, Government Affairs, Public Affairs. So we need to educate really yung mga tao. I think this is also to answer an answer to Brother Paul's question, what can the community do? Kasi may ano nga, like sa court. So when we hired that GAPA people, it really represented the company to explain, ano ba yung ginagawa namin? What are we doing? And then, when the time comes to showcase the product, we invited Greenpeace, everyone. Kasi yung trialing namin, nakakover yan ng mga, ng mga tolda. Because people, I think these opposers are thriving on the ignorance of the public. Yeah, because they thought BT corn looked like a monster. Sa totoo lang, yan ang akala ng maraming tao noon. And when we opened the trials to the public, sabi niya, nasan yung BT corn? Ayan, mais. And even Greenpeace was surprised. They thought corn looked really different. So the point there is there should be really a good education of the public to answer yung ano nga ni Brother Paul. And with that, science proven eh. So having the experience with that, in fact, we have to hire military kasi may mga death threats din kami noon eh. So, but when the product was really exposed, and then the public really appreciated that, yan pala yung ano eh. And I think one also of the apprehensions why golden rice or BT eggplant is not easily commercialized. This is just my opinion, ano. Unlike BT corn, because yeah, as what Brother Glenn said earlier, this corn, everything had to be processed first. But when it comes to rice and BT eggplant, you have to consume it directly, aside from the amount. But you would wonder, in fact, the first to trial BT eggplant was, correct me if I'm wrong, Deacon Glenn, was India, because Mahaiko is from India. Okay, in collaboration with Monsanto. It was supposed to be commercialized in 2012, but because of the public outcry, they did not commercialize it. But you would wonder, their neighboring country, Bangladesh, has already commercialized it. A much poorer country, and it's reaping the dividends. So at the end of the day, there can also be the political issue of this. And even, yeah, what Brother Paul mentioned, that coconut oil. It's because of the US Congress during the 80s lobbied against coconut oil to promote their soybean oil. Yeah, that's the truth of the matter.
Oh, yun
Yeah.
ang nangyari.
Thank you.
So it's very tricky. So it's nice for us to know. Kahit tayo ay ibang field, it's nice to know those things. So in short, we have to be educated on this science. It will not affect our faith unless you are may member na masipag dito or Greenpeace. So just open. What is, ang sabi ng Panginoon, anong maipasok niya sa bibig niyo, what is you could put in your mouth is good. Anong mailabas, yun ang masama. Okay, so baka may third term pa ito. Third time pa ito. Okay, so let's end in prayer. Our dear Lord, we are thanking you for giving us this time to discuss all these big issues in our government and our food that we are taking every day. It's nice to know all these things, to know the issues, at the same time to be aware as Christians of which sides are we going, at the same time to be conscious of all these things as we tackle with our ordinary life. Lord, we thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your science. Thank you for discovering things. Those are small things in your sight, Lord, but we give us awe as we see this happening in our lives. And now we are tasting it, and commercializing it. Lord, may you bless us, all of us here, and cause us to remember that your salvation, that is more important than all the things that we are taking in our mouth. Lord, may you bless our Sunday school, and may these things linger in our mind, and we could discuss this more. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Thank you very much.